Alright folks, it's time to dig up your dahlia tubers, and for those of you who haven't done this before or who are like me and have only done it a couple of times before, you might need to follow those step-by-step instructions, and I'm going to try and guide you through those right now. So, what I have right here in my hand is a clump of dahlia tubers that I dug up actually out of a 5-gallon potted dahlia. Called Hillcrest Jonathan, which I love. It's a beautiful pink and white dahlia that performs very well. This dahlia obviously produces a healthy clump of tubers off of the mother tuber, which looks extremely phallic right here, but there's nothing we can do about it. All it says is, well, it must have been fertile to begin with. So, I have cut this dahlia tuber down to 6 inches at the first freeze. Then I dug it up widely with a pitchfork. I snipped it even closer so that the stalk could dry out, and I stored it upside down like this for a day so that all the moisture in that stalk and all the moisture in the tubers could drip out, because these plants are full of moisture, just like a corn stalk. You do not want mushy tubers if you're going to store them over the winter, so you need to store that. So you can see here the stalk, you can see it dries out, starts looking like a dried out corn stalk rather than a wet corn stalk where you'd have like a rim of moisture. It's looking dried out now. So, and I'm also feeling the tubers. They're still firm right now. Some of the littler ones are a little squishy. Anything that's a little squishy, that's a real squishy one. See, I pressed on that. I can tell you do not want to keep anything that's squishy. It's already a sign of rot. So, first thing I do, I brought it in. I washed it off just in the laundry sink, trying to get excess dirt off from in between the clumps, being very careful. I cut off all those little twingy roots that are popping off because they're not going to lead to anything. The next thing you need to do is evaluate your tuber and say, all right, what's actually going to give me a tuber and a good plant, a healthy plant next year? Anything less than the width of a finger is not going to give you a good thing. And anything that's injured, like this one, see, you can see it's got a stab in it. Could have happened during harvesting, like if I put the pitchfork in it while I was trying to dig it up or something like that, or an animal came and nibbled it. That's going to cause rot. So you need to get rid of those. So grab your trusty sharpest loppers and just take it off cleanly, throw it away. Honest to God. And anything that's small like this is not going to produce a healthy plant. Clip it off, throw it away. You need things like this one, this one, this one, maybe this one if you can separate them out, but these guys are too small. They're hardy, but they're not going to make it through the winter where you have that desiccation process and beware all the rot. So I'm going to just take these off right now. Oops. Obviously, the mother tuber, here you can see it's still marked with my markings from last year, Hillcrest Jonathan and the BBFDDB bulb size and flower size. That you need to cut off. So for all you men haters out there, this needs to go. Cannot stay, because the mother tuber will always rot the following season, even though it might look healthy and it's the biggest of all. And see, it's still healthy. There's a little bit of rot there. You can't have it attached to your tubers. So, first thing I do, I look at all my tubers that are attached to this clump and I say, you're too small, you're too small, you're too small. Survival of the fittest, you need to go. And I'm trying not to damage the surrounding bulbs as I cut them off. These are hard because I'm like, oh, it's juicy, it's thick, it's better than a pinky long little thing. But still, honest to God, I've tried to overwinter tubers like this, and they don't survive well. So you're better off buying new ones that are bigger and healthier. Get rid of these. So you carefully get rid of these, try not to damage the other ones. The other thing I'm doing is I'm squeezing them, and I'm trying to evaluate something's already rotten. I don't know if you can see this. See, there's a dent here with green coloring. That's where I drove a green stake in, a 8-foot green stake, to support this plant as it was growing. But it grazed the tuber as it went in, and it healed over, and that's why it has that green coloring. So it healed over. It's fine. It's not damaged. We could potentially salvage that, but there's a lot of soil impacted in here, so we might have some surprises here. So the other big thing you want to look out for is breakage on a tuber. Here, you can see that this tuber has been broken off. It might have been in if you really have to go in gentle and around and raise the clump of tubers like it's Aphrodite on a clamshell, or Venus rather, on a clamshell coming out of the water. You don't want to dig a pitchfork into half a tuber, because this tuber is likely to start rotting, and it's a bad contender, so you've got to keep an eye on that. I probably can't save this one. This one, I'd say, is a long shot. It's less than finger thick. Probably gonna get rid of it. And I'm looking also for any worms, any weirdo things. Something that just says, this is not healthy. This is just a root coming off a root. Now your goal, now I should point out that I know that this clump of tubers has a problem to start with. I got a virus from another Dahlia introduced into my garden from a Dahlia sale, and I saw stunted growth and petal deformations and all sorts of things. And when I dug up the tubers, what I saw were these like papilloma-like lesions, like these little raised round lesions on the tubers, which I don't see on the tubers of past generations. So I know that these are infected with the virus. Obviously this one that's got a big old chunk out of it, no, you're not sticking around. You're gonna go nowhere. Little ones like this, nope, you're not going anywhere. But I'm using this clump as a demonstration to show you how to do this. If you dig up tubers and you find abnormalities, things that just don't look right, don't save them. Or if you save them, keep them by themselves in their own container, and think about, over that long winter, whether or not you want to take the risk of introducing that same thing into your garden the next year.